Hi, I'm depressed alcoholic comedian James Nokise. A couple of years ago, I had a mental health breakdown which resulted in panic attacks on international flights, stepping in front of an oncoming bus, and eventually showering so long that I began to get a little bit hungry. And that's when I discovered something magnificent. Through the magic of takeaways and running water, it turns out my mental health safe space is eating fried chicken in the shower. And that's how we've ended up here, a mental health podcast on headspace and happiness. This episode, I'm talking to performance artist Moe Laga. We'll be talking about getting away.
I just decided one day to go on like this drinking binge in Otara. And I just remember never coming back home.
Getting a family.
Just the whole Five Swag family. They've had my back from day one.
And getting blazed.
I actually sat down, got high, and really thought about why do I get triggered?
Some of this will get a bit real, the language, the subjects, so make sure that you're in a safe space with your comfort food. And join us, eating fried chicken in the shower. Hi, and welcome to Eating Fried Chicken in the Shower with me, James Nokise. And today I am joined by a multi-talented performing artist, Moe Laga. Does that cover what you do? If I just say multi-talented performing artist, or do you prefer dance?
I like multi-talented, I guess.
It takes nothing away from being a dancer, but I feel like dance is like first amongst a variety of things that you do.
Definitely. Oh, sorry, I'm still coming down from my high.
like just emotional high.
Oh
or...
no, I told myself I'll come half an hour before I come in. I'm gonna get stoned. So I'm sitting on the fence. So I'm currently sitting on the fence.
You're just sitting on it. What year are you in right now? That's how my wife always refers to it. Is that you just go back?
Yeah.
So,
feel like I'm back in 95.
95. That's a good year.
Yeah.
It's a good year to be in.
I love 95.
Tupac's still alive.
Definitely.
First D'Angelo album's coming out.
TLC's album.
TLC? That's Crazy Sexy Cool's coming. Yeah. That's a good album.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah. So, what chicken have you bought for us I don't want to deny you the chicken.
I don't know. Waffle? I've never tried this one.
You never tried it? Have you only heard of peaches?
I've only ever heard of peaches.
Oh my gosh. Let's get into it. Where's for listeners thinking, man, these guys sound like they know each other for ages. We only actually met last year.
Yeah.
We were both doing seasons at the Basement Theatre of our solo shows, straight out of sort of lockdown. Or our shows have been delayed by the second or third lockdown?
Let's count. I think it was the third one. And then we got greenlit into level 1.
And then it was just our 2 shows on there, which was really, really fun because I had sort of been out of the country when Coven, which is your particular group, and Faf Swag that you're a member of, had come up, you know, is it 2017, 2016?
Faf Swag started 2013.
But when they popped,
popped. Yeah, around then. 15, 16, 17.
So we just got talking there and had a little bit in common.
Yeah.
For our listeners, what do you do?
Well, I'm a mother to a ballroom house. For those of you that don't know what ballroom is, it's like a place where the LGBTQI get to, the LGBT children of, oh my gosh, I'm such a fan! Blah, blah, blah. I haven't said LGBT in ages. ABC, TI. That's where like where queer get to like express themselves in a like safe environment and like kind of compete against other houses. And like my house is the House of Kavan Karanji, and we've been active for 6 years. And as well as ballroom, I decided to make collective from it, because I realized that not only are these kids amazing ballroom, but they're like, I really fuck with their artistry, and I kind of want to help like hone their crafts and like, you know, just look over it, because some of them aren't like, they don't have the qualifications and stuff. They're like fresh from school. But I'm all about the whole like experiencing life as your crash course into being an artist. Yeah. So yeah, I look after these, me and my partner look after these children. And they're now part of the arts collective, and we try and get them like booked where we can and help them really bring their dreams to like full circle.
And the term you used there, is it queerocracy? No,
Queerocracy.
Queerocracy. That's the political branch, the queerocracy. Is that a new term? I haven't heard it. Queerocracy.
No, queer. It's my fault. It's queer POC.
Oh, queer POC. Oh, right, not the queer POC, which is there's a queer POC is probably what homophobic people are talking about. There's a queer POC, and these queers are coming.
Oh my god.
Queer POC.
It's my fault.
Yeah, but I'm a Fakasi and I grew up with it. I should be able to hear it.
For sure. Because there's also my Fia Palangi side, where it's like trying to sound smart at the same time, so it gets lost.
What is that term? POC?
POC.
That's
OPP.
me. That's my Fia Palangi side. That's what that is. And it's and when you say mother, I think that term for our listeners might also be new in terms of like being a mother of a house. Is that like a? Well, actually, you explain.
It's like a queer family, like, because there's stuff that you wouldn't necessarily ask your biological parents, and they don't usually have the answers for. So, like me being a mother and my partner being the father, like we kind of, these kids call us to like queerance. So like they come to us for advice about like queer life and survival and how we got over it, and advice on how to like come out to their families and stuff. And yeah, I think that's what like that's why there's why houses call like the head of the house the mother or the father, because it's like you basically take on that role of teaching them about queer life so that like they're safe. And
it's quite a responsibility.
Oh yeah, it's basically taken over my art practice, I feel like. But I think it was last year I told myself that motherhood is an art practice in a way, because you're kind of, when you think of mothers, you think of them as creating something, and I feel like that's what artists naturally do. So I'm like, fuck an art practice. My art practice was my motherhood. So yeah, so that's what I've been kind of like thinking deep. Me trying to sound smart.
No.
Thinking deep. No. Trying to find myself in my practice, which is motherhood currently. I've added that to my art practice. Yeah.
So did you run away at 21?
Yeah. Yeah, I had to remove myself from the situation because it wasn't doing me any. It wasn't bringing me any joy. I realized that my family at the time didn't really want to give me joy as well. So I just decided one day to go on like this drinking binge in Otara. And I just remember never coming back home.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I finally lived life at 21.
Right.
And discovered everything properly. Yeah, I felt like I just came out of like those Christian camps for like years.
Yeah. That's quite the schism.
But I don't regret it though, like the upbringing part, because I think what the Samoan church taught me was like kind of preparing me to have a good head on my shoulders kind of thing, and it's kind of kept me grounded over the years. So yeah. Trying to name positives about church.
You don't have to. And I say that to you as a Fefe ask. You don't have to. The first 21 years, though.
Oh, yeah.
That means your teenage years, you're dancing, you're moving. Are you aware of your queerness at that point?
Oh, definitely. Because I felt like I got away with, like, I was pretty good at code switching from a young age. So, like, when I was at home, I wasn't allowed to speak English at home. I was just Samoan at all times otherwise. And then at school, I felt like I could be like my queer alter ego and just be like a bitch.
Yeah.
Just be like, Miss, I'm not going to behave unless you let me perform in front of the class at 2:55, which is 5 minutes before the bell. And I need to close the day down. And I just remember like a lot of my classmates being like, do we have to watch this, Miss? So yeah, I kind of had that like alter ego. Like I'd go to school as a like complete bitch, and then I'd come home as Cinderella.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of Pacific Islands, teenagers who were in that position.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of church people, a lot of Pacific Islanders in the church in their 20s and 30s who are still in that position.
Oh yeah.
You know, got that Saturday night.
That's why they get so drunk.
Yeah. Do you think?
Yeah, I believe so, because they wouldn't know how to, you know, express what they're feeling inside. So they would have to like do something, like get drunk every weekend and make a fool of themselves. I feel bad. I'm reading my own people down.
No, I don't think. I think that you're not reading the people down, I'd say. It's observing.
Yeah. Yeah.
From a place of being of but outside.
I like that. Yeah. I feel like they definitely get drunk every weekend or every payday because that's all they know when I feel like they don't have the tools to be able to express what they are actually feeling angry about inside. Hence why there's lots of fights and like club royals and stuff and
weddings.
And that too.
Is that part of your motivation as a mother? To give young queer people tools?
Yeah. Like, I don't know all the answers, but I just base it off like what I've been through and my survival, like having to like start life all over at 21 and as a woman leading up to now. And like just basically like when they come to me with their problems, I'm just like, reminds me of when I was 23. And I told them how I dealt with it. And yeah, they learn something from it. I tell them not to like take all of it, but take some of it, because some of us need to learn some of those hard lessons ourselves.
Is that difficult, knowing there's a hard lesson coming, but feeling that it's something that you do have to learn yourself? You can't necessarily be taught?
Yeah, because I know a lot of my kids get really far-ly when I'm like when I really attack them for certain things and like check them for certain things, and I'm just like, oh well, at least I warned you. Like, take what you can from what I've said.
Like, it's funny because ironically what you're talking about, in a sense, is pastoral care. It's what a minister does for a congregation. What's it like though, if I can ask?
What's it like?
To run away? Like in the manner that you did?
Freedom. I feel free. Like in the first couple of years though, I was anxious that like, what if I bump into like one of my family members? Like I'll think of situations like at the supermarket, how am I gonna act? But thankfully I never bumped into them, and I was just like, oh, okay. And I kind of grew stronger over time. And then I think it was like the 5th year of running away, or 6th. I decided to go back for one Christmas just to pop in and be like, yeah, I'm still alive. And they're all still the same. So I was like, okay, bye.
Really?
Yeah, I try and tell myself to like check in every now and then so that, not that I care if they care that I'm alive, but like so they know that I'm doing fine. And they know I'm doing fine now, so, which is good. And I kind of felt like it was that it was them saying that I wasn't going to amount to shit when I was younger, kind of really pushing me every day. And now that they're kind of seeing like some of my stuff pop up, they're just like, oh, she really is living what she said she was going to do. And yeah, it feels good. I feel like I often run away. Like, I can't say I've run away that one time. I feel like I constantly am running. I'm never comfortable. So I'm constantly running. But recently I've learned to just ground myself. But I've also been planning my next runaway. Like, Melbourne looks good. Like,
It does look good though, apart from the thing, but otherwise it looks
yeah.
good.
Might just pack my bags and go there for a couple of months or not come back. I don't know.
What do you think of when you think on your teenage years? I'm thinking of our listeners who maybe are in their teenage years, and they're thinking, I have to run away, but they're not sure. And I'm not advocating it.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like, what, what can you look back on in your role as a mother and think about them?
I feel like in this day and age with like the Queerocracy people, I feel like there's more help now than, because my situation was different for my reasons of running away. Like, I had to run away because there was nothing else for me that I knew of that was out there. So where am I going? I feel like, yeah, there's more help now out there for the queer youth. Like, there's houses now, like my house, and like for any teens out there that are feeling very lost and unsure, there's definitely those. You can reach out to like a lot of the house mothers here. There's like 4 or 5, and they're scattered throughout New Zealand. So you can find us on social media and stuff, and there's like Rainbow Youth and all these other youth collectives. But I would say don't be so harsh on yourself. Like, yeah, and just keep people that are like gonna keep encouraging you to be your authentic self.
Did you have a high school squad?
No, I was actually a loser. I was actually I was like the drama club loser. They'll try and go around and blend in and be like,
Hey man.
hey, it's like, ooh, fuck off you blender. I'm just like, I'm not a blender.
Oh, this cuts deep. This cuts deep, boy.
It does. And then I remember there was like, even my denial stage where I was like, I'm not gay. I'd go around and all the boys were like, oh, nah, you're queer. I was like, nah, I'm one of you, Stu. Can I rock up with you at Pacifica? I'll meet you in front of the Western Springs. Like, why are you talking like that? Like, cause I'm straight. So yeah, I was, my high school years were very, I felt like it was me playing different characters every term.
Was there a time in high school you were able to drop it and just be you, or just all through, just keeping it up?
I was just keeping it up. Yeah, and then I would get boys like, if you're a real girl, I would have had it. I'm just like, give me 10 years. But yeah, it's funny. Some of them have snuck into the DMs, but I'm just like, I'm not interested, bro. Like, all the best. I see you got a kid.
You gotta move on from your high school years.
Like,
You gotta let it go.
Let it go.
Did you ever move back to your family place? Have you ever been back?
Never. Never. No. Mm-mm. I feel like I just think about everything in my childhood. It just motivates me. Like, sometimes I'll just turn up when I have a decent amount of money in my account, and I just rock up like, oh yeah, you want 300? Like, I go back just to be petty,
Yeah.
and then I disappear. But I'll never tell them my address.
I want to ask about when you ran away and what you're doing now. You're helping a lot of young queer people now. So I'm curious, who helped you when you ran away?
Tanu Ngao and Pati, which is FAFSWAG. So FAFSWAG was basically there from the beginning for me, like, because I ran away and I cut ties with everyone else, but then I hung on to Tanu and Pati's relationship, and they were just beginning FAFSWAG, and they just let me live my life, but like, because I was living in a tiny house at the time, I was selling drugs,
Right.
and like when the police raid happened and everything was going to shits, and I had nowhere else to go, Tanu and Pati was just like, just bring your stuff. And it's funny because they cracked up because I rocked up with just rubbish bags of clothes. It was my akumbao. And yeah, they basically saved me, and just the whole FAFSWAG family, like, they've had my back from day one. And they even let me like be their friend that sells drugs in Otara.
Everyone needs a friend who sells drugs.
In Otara, yeah. So yeah, it was basically FAFSWAG. I definitely call Pati and Tanu like my parents. And yeah, they're always just looking out for me and everyone else. And I feel like that's kind of where I learned how to be generous, I guess, because I would see how Tanu would give me advice from his own experience growing up queer, and we'll talk about music and stuff, and I kind of learned from that relationship what it was. It was like kind of like a mentorship, like he's like my parent, and I kind of wanted to do that for the new gen coming in. That's kind of how I ended up here. Yeah.
No, I understand that. It's part of how the show comes about. Is I wanted to have something for the new gen coming in.
Yeah.
A resource I didn't have.
Yeah. And I remember because Tanu would chuck us in all these like random community stuff that I never got. I was like, why are we doing this? Like, it's community service, like give back to your community. It's like doing condom wrappings. I'm like, on a Thursday, and like, what's the point?
Yeah.
And working at Pacific, I talk about safe sex. I never got it all, but like, the more I grew up, the more I realized what he was actually doing. I was like, oh yeah, cool. And like, now I'm kind of doing that to my kids now. I'm like, come on, it's community service. You have to come and do this and show your face at this protest. And
Is it hard to see the difference between the family you grew up with and the family you have now?
It's I don't mean to be sad or anything,
No.
but like, I kind of feel like all the good that I have now in my life has kind of erased my memory of what it was like to exist in that space with my family. Like, I still think about it, but it feels like it was like a dream or like something I saw on TV, and I'm like, did I really go through that? Like, and it's hard to believe, but it did happen. Yeah. But yeah, I consider this my family, like how the way Tanu taught me with FAFSWAG and then me with Coven, I kind of feel like I'm setting up my own kind of family tree for my queer spirit relationships. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it painful?
What, my family? It's not painful, it's more disappointment for me.
For you to them?
No, it's like I'm disappointed in them, that's all. I don't feel any pain because I felt like my life was a pain. But yeah, I just feel disappointed, that's all. That they couldn't expand their thinking around things and be more open, fluid thinking.
What do you do to deal with that feeling of disappointment? Because it's not a nice feeling to look at the people and feel like that. What do you do?
You know how I talked about running away before? I do a shedding, I feel.
Right.
And I don't know if people are into the whole mumbo jumbo spirituality, go out to university, receive, but I feel like when I feel like that, I just shed myself and kind of reinvent myself aesthetically, mentally, the way I eat. And yeah, I feel like that really helps me.
Yeah. So like a cleanse.
It's like a cleanse, like a new bit through this, like new era. Like I turn the leaf over, I can forget about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do that. They just have different terms. You know, that sounds similar to someone go, oh, I'm going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to have the summer body, or you know, I'm going to read this amount of books over a month. You know, I think people do that.
Yeah, and for me, something because like. I wasn't exactly in a good place, say like 2 months ago, in terms of my motherhood, because my children, some of them have grown up, and they've grown up enough where they can leave the house, but some of my children have left, and we kind of had a fight over it, and it kind of made me depressed, and I had to I've literally gone, deleted my socials, this is the longest I've been off Instagram. I was just over the bullshit, like I don't know, there's bullshit in everyone's community, but I was just over being triggered by things that make me angry and anxious, and I realized that a lot of those things were from Instagram. What's the first, I actually sat down, got high, and really thought about why do I get triggered? And then I go, the first thing I do is wake up, go on Instagram, look at people's story, and it feels like people are attacking me. Right. And then I felt like I was going crazy, and then I was just like, nah, I think I just have to get off social media. And I basically got off social media, and I've been off for a month or going on to, it's a month now. And I feel good, I don't feel triggered. I wake up. Again, it feels like I'm in the 90s because everyone has to contact me through email or call me, but only if you have my number, kind of thing. But it feels good because I miss people now. I miss human interactions. Whereas when I was on social media, I was like, oh yeah, that person's all good because they just posted a story an hour ago. But it makes it more meaningful. I stopped clubbing too.
Yeah.
I stopped going out and being like, I just stayed at home and ate toasties and watched movies and got high because I was really depressed and I really needed to just be a hermit. But then I decided to go out to test the waters, and it felt good going out and people actually respecting you and your boundaries and respecting your presence more because they don't see you as much, and it gives them a chance to miss. It sounds psychotic, but
no, not at all.
It gives them a chance to miss you. So you're just oh yeah, social media is not the one. But everyone's like, when are you coming back on? I was I don't know. I kind of like it. I don't know how long I'll be off for, but it's feeling good so far. Being off.
What are the voices? The negative voices? Are they from growing up? Are they from just always being there? Where do they come from?
Childhood trauma again, from your family saying, you can't do that, you can't do that. That's esa. Esa le whaile me nga. All that. I keep on hearing it. And even down to little food stuff. I have a trauma with food because I'd grow up and it was you're not allowed to eat that unless you ask. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And then on the other hand, I'll go to my other family's house. I'm am I allowed to eat this? Why are you asking? Food's meant to be eaten. And then it'll kind of confuse me as a kid, and it's kind of come on to me as an adult now. Especially when I'm eating at other people's houses. I'm is it okay if I have this? It's what the fuck, why are you asking?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's those childhood trauma voices, really. It silences it when I'm high. But those are the negative voices I hear.
Well, I ask this question of everyone who comes in here, because this is my safe space, weirdly enough. Not necessarily this particular shower, but a shower and good food has always been my safe space. Is there anything that you would like to share in the shower while you're here?
That I guess like we create our own kind of safe spaces for ourselves, like how you have the shower and the chicken. And for myself, I have ballroom as my safe space. And I feel like anyone can have a safe space. It's just not anyone can have. Oh, does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Oh yeah, like I feel like you create your own safe space, really.
What was that first ball like? You gotta remember.
Yes, I do. It was Banji. It was in Otara. That's where the first ball was.
Wow.
The Te Puki or Tara Hall. Yeah, that's where it first begun. And it was very beginners. But now with...
Have you been on that whole journey?
Yeah. Because ballroom here has been around for 8 years now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's slowly transitioned from South Auckland to like town. So
that's crazy to me to agree. Like that it's not because of the church, because of our community. There's no shade to our community. But when you consider, look, let's call it what it is, the homophobia that's in there. All right. Let's call it like, I know there'll be a lot of people who are going, it's not homophobia, it's just God's will. Mate, I'm a minister's son, it's homophobia. Considering there's all that in the middle of this ocean of homophobia, this island of queer safety pops up. And then it comes to the CBD, where arguably you'd think it would probably be the reverse of that.
Yeah.
It would start, K Road and basements, and then it would find its way to South Auckland. Like, do you find that strange?
Yeah. Not really.
Yeah.
It's funny because we do have like, sometimes can tell when it's like people from churches that come to balls, and they have nothing. It's weird when they actually come into our world, they realize it's actually not that bad. Like they're just like, oh, they're just being themselves and like expressing themselves safely. Like, yeah, because I like watching Christian families come in and like just to come support whoever, and then like, you can kind of see their mind change when they leave the ball. It's like, oh yeah, if this is where my son wants to be or my daughter wants to be, then it's a safe space. And I feel like it kind of starts their conversation in churches. So I'm interested to see what ballroom looks like in 10 years time from now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm excited, like, yeah, to see where it's at and the people that come to it. Because I know a lot of people's, like, I don't know if it's called erasing their homophobia, like when they come in and finally get to be like, oh yeah, oh cool, it's the doing nothing devilish, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not as like giapolo as they make it out.
Have you talked with your mother about being a mother? Because it strikes me you're such an important mother to so many people in your community.
Well, it's funny, no, it's not funny. My biological mother actually passed away around 2017. And it's funny because when I would get high, I feel like I have conversations with my mother. And because like, I'm gonna be real, my biological mother was fucking useless. Like, she couldn't take care of any of us. And for me, like, how I look at my motherhood is making up for her fucking up me and my siblings' childhood. I'm just like, cool, I am my mother's daughter. I am gonna be the best mother that I could be, because obviously she liked dick before any of her children in her life when she was alive. So I feel like I try and channel her and what she would do. And I try and be a better version of her, I guess. Which is weird, how I can get along with everyone else's mothers, but I couldn't. Yeah, I remember the latter parts of my mum being alive. Like, I had to live with her because I was like, I didn't really grow up with her, but it got annoying because then she had dementia.
Right.
Yeah, so it was hard living with her as well. I was trying to focus on my transition because there was a period where I stayed with her for 2-3 months. On the third month, I just handed the towel in because we were just constantly arguing and I was trying to find myself and she was getting more sick. So I couldn't really do much. And yeah, I feel like that's where a lot of my motherhood comes from, is doing what I think she would have done. Kind of like acting.
Honestly, I feel growing up is basically figuring out what your parents did.
Yeah.
And then trying to be better when you have children or you are responsible for other people's lives.
Yeah. Then sometimes you're like, I am my mother's daughter. I'm a bitch.
And can I ask your father?
My father lives in Melbourne.
Right.
My father left my biological parents because they didn't give me the childhood trauma. It was actually my adopted family that gave me the childhood trauma because my mum couldn't actually look after me at the time, so she had to give me to my father's family to adopt.
Listeners, this is a very Samoan thing, and it's probably not. There's probably a lot of other communities who've got this, but
Whāngai.
yeah, whāngai. It's a whāngai. So what's that like with your adopted family?
Traumatizing, but I forgive them now. They taught me a lot, but also very traumatizing. But I would always run away to Otara to my biological mum and father. So it was a bit of that every weekend. So that's why I say I grew up 50% South Auckland, 50% Central.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah, my adopted family, I feel like at a place now where they're slowly learning stuff now about the world around them. Even though a lot of the stuff they say are quite problematic, but then I just blame it on the generation before. Like, they didn't know any better and they come from a different time with a different kind of struggle.
Do you think that helps, being able to forgive them? Is it forgiveness?
Yeah, I feel like for me, I had to forgive them, otherwise I just hold a grudge against them. And I feel like that's why I had Neon Bootleg, was to be able to express my frustrations with them and be at peace with it and just close that chapter. Yeah, because I don't like carrying around like a burden on someone.
Or you feel like carrying it around is a burden to someone else or a burden to you?
For myself, like I hate that person so much, but I've realized that the more anger you just hold on to, it just makes you a miserable person. And I kind of realized that with not bashing my mum, but I realized that with her, she was she was resentful and quite an angry woman. And I never want to be like that. So I try and let things go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it gives you no wrinkles too, apparently.
I like my wrinkles. I'm gonna be honest with you, Moe, because
I can't see any.
Oh, bless you. That's you're my favorite guest now.
Thank you.
It's all the grease from the chicken.
Oh yeah, it's like evaporates
and
it smooths it out.
Smooths it out. Yeah.
It's gonna be facial. You should do it like cleanse.
Chicken. I like to get a spicy peaches and then just
roll it around my eyes. It makes it a bit teary. Then you roll it in. It closes your pores. You should do a beauty secret with maple syrup and.
You should do a beauty secret. You gotta get peaches to chicken. We'll do a chicken tour.
Yeah, we should.
Which is the best chicken for makeup.
For makeup. See, I can see some eyeshadow here, some gloss.
Yeah. And then all the boys that I went to high school with, we sitting there going, I knew it. I knew it. I saw him in the shower with this chick I used to see on Instagram. They were doing fried chicken facials, man.
Fried chicken.
Eating Fried Chicken in the Shower is produced for RNZ by Charlie Bleakley of Fruit and Nut Productions. The engineer is Ronnie Powick. The executive producers are Justin Gregory and Tim Watkin. You can find this podcast however you just found this podcast. Or if you're listening on the radio, go to RNZ's podcast page and look for The Chicken. If you're rating podcasts and you want to rate ours, give us 5 stars. Remember, more stars, more chicken. If you want to share your comfort food and your mental health safe space with me, then you can tweet me on @JamesNokise. If you're experiencing mental health issues and you're in New Zealand, you can text 1737 or go to the RNZ Fried Chicken page and we'll have a list of different mental health practitioners that might be able to assist you. If because of the pandemic you're experiencing COVID-related mental health issues, you can go to www.health.govt.nz. Look for the COVID page and you'll be able to find mental health resources there. Stay safe. Whaftai lava. Matua.